Okay. Oh, now everyone's waiting for me. 6:24. How we doing on the YouTube? Ready? Okay. Good evening. It's Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. This is the work session of the Board of Education, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. Could everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. And the first item on our agenda is public comments. Do we have any public commenters? No. Okay. I'm going to move on to the next item. Policy review. Okay. And for this section of our agenda, I'm going to turn the meeting over to our Vice President, Trustee Barron.
Hello. Okay. First, let me make sure my phone is on mute. Yes. Okay. 1620. I meant to call somebody before the meeting. I forgot. Governor Hochul recently signed into law change enabling boards of education to have a little more flexibility in scheduling their annual organizational meeting. So this lengthens the amount of time in July. That is what this wording, this change in wording refers to. That is to which this change of wording refers. Questions, comments? If no, we'll move to the next one. That's policy 1620, annual organizational meeting. Next. Okay. Policy 3310, notification of disclosure of employee disciplinary records. And I printed something out and I forgot to bring it. This is a new sample policy, this should say new up here, from Erie Wombosis that came in 2025. It's in response to the addition of a subdivision of public officers law, which mandates that New York public agencies, including K-12 school districts, notify employees when their disciplinary records are requested under the Freedom of Information Law. Excuse me.
Trustee Warner.
Yep.
So I'm fine with the policy. The question is, I don't know. I should. Under what circumstances can someone foil the disciplinary records?
Let's turn that.
Yeah, our attorney here.
So a lot of the record would be redacted, but it can be foiled.
Anybody?
Anyone can foil
Okay.
any school district records, but that would be very redacted for personally identifiable information.
So just to clarify, this policy ensures that even if the entire document is redacted, we're obligated to notify the employee that a request was made for that
Correct.
document. Okay. And then my question was going to be, I know that when we have collective bargaining agreements with clauses related to this, we're supposed to ensure that the policy and the CBAs marry while we still meet the law. Has that been, does this policy contradict any of our existing CBAs?
I would have to look at them.
Okay, so we'll do that. We can move on policy-wise while we look at that. Okay.
I do, though, want to talk a little bit more about foiling information and redaction, because I don't know if everyone, well, I think everyone on the board knows, because the board's been together for at least a year, which is nice. But I don't know if everyone in the public knows. Foiling is something that anyone can do, and because we're a public school district, we have to provide the information, but it does take time, and also certain information will be redacted, right? So that's important to know. People have foiled things, and there's big black marks throughout. We're not hiding anything, but we have an obligation to protect staff and private information, and that includes a lot of the information in a disciplinary record. So, okay, just wanted to be clear for anyone who didn't know.
Any other comments, questions about this policy 3311, new policy? Okay, moving on to the next one. Let me make sure I got it. Okay, this is the audit committee policy, which we recently reviewed in committee. The changes suggested by the committee are in fuchsia. Just adding some clarification about how residents would be preferred if there are multiple similarly qualified candidates who would like to serve on the committee. As it stands, our current charter allows the committee to consist of two public members. There's no questions or comments, we could move on. Okay, so moving on, part of the policy or part of the law actually requires, so audit committee is the one of the very few legally required committees that boards of education have to create. And the law also requires that the audit committee not necessarily have a policy, but definitely a charter. So embedded in our policy is the audit committee charter. A lot of the language in here repeats what's in the policy, but there were a few technical little changes that we suggested, again in fuchsia. Any comments, questions, suggestions? Okay, moving on to the next one, and just for notes, these policies and charters are supposed to be reviewed annually, not necessarily changed, but definitely under review. So we're completing that. Okay, next one, policy 6214, incidental teaching. My notes here. This was, there were updates provided by Erie One BOCES. It was revised, I'll just read the summary. Revised to reflect the process for approval of incidental teaching assignments in districts. Currently, the district superintendent is responsible for the approval of incidental teaching assignments. Districts should contact their local BOCES for information or on requesting approval, and then there's a reference information was provided. So,
in item C on the second page of incidental teaching, the teacher assigned to teach the course will be reimbursed by the district for the tuition cost of any portion of the 3 semester hours of credit or the equivalent required that is taken by the teacher at the request of the district, and satisfactory evidence that the teacher has been reimbursed in the event the teacher who is assigned has previously taught the course on an incidental basis under previous renewed approval. Okay, so what does a custody chain, what's the chain of documents look like? Just like you prove that you completed the course with a satisfactory grade?
I do not know those answers. I will say before we see if the superintendent or legal chimes in, that my question was also, is that, I'm trying to find the original version. Is that required by law, or is this reimbursement something you added in? So I don't know who could answer Trustee Warner's, because I do see it was added in blue, and I don't know what blue means.
Mine is red.
On the original, so I don't know who added that. I don't know if that was the law or us.
What's blue?
I don't know.
I'm going into the.
Oh, she's going in.
So
Can't you just see the Persian history?
it's confusing. I tried to do
Okay.
this earlier. But, so I would say too, if we don't know that answer right now, perhaps we could research that
Sure.
section and come back to us via the packet, Dr. Chisholm, on clarifying that section.
Come back to it.
How did it get there? How is it implemented? Is that a good summary? Trustee
Yeah.
Warner, how is it implemented as far as documents? Trustee Mears?
I have a question. Is this in line with our CBA? Because there's a lot of things on
Right.
here. Talks about like reimbursements and hours and all of that. Is our, may not have the answer right now, but can you guys make sure it's in line with our CBA so that we don't have to request any MOAs or that they know this is coming? I don't know. Thank you.
I expect on that item C, there may be further discussion in the board, depending on if it's required or optional, and what the recommendation will be for any MOAs need to be done. Is there any other questions, comments, concerns on this policy? Okay. Moving on to 7220, retitled as graduation requirements. This again was an Erie One update because some of the other sections that were included in the original version have now been broken out into separate policies, which some of which, if not all of which, we'll talk about in a minute. So that's why many things were struck through. They've added in the reference to the NICEAD guidelines website because those guidelines are continually changing, especially in this era of the rollout of Portrait of a Graduate. Any comments, questions, suggestions on this policy? Seeing none, let's move to 7221, participation in graduation ceremonies and hold on, let me make sure. Okay, yeah. Participation in graduation ceremonies and activities. This did not have an Erie 1 update. So these red lines came from administration and or legal.
Right, so they blocked out the participating, and being able to participate, forbid students from being able to participate because they took the district code of conduct, they violated the district code of conduct, they took it out of the front and put it in the back. And so it gave me a heart attack and it made me feel better when I.
Right. So probably like you, I had the same reaction, and I would suggest either we make a new heading for it down there or we move it back up towards the front. I would also, we're referring to the little paragraph on the second page at the top, all students may be prohibited from participating. I would also like to change it to be any students, correct? Okay, so that sentence, we'd like to move above perhaps as a separate paragraph, but above the graduation ceremony breakout. I'm gonna make a little symbol here. Sorry, so it should go up here, separate paragraph. Trustee Mayor?
I was looking quickly and my eyes itching, so I can't see, but wasn't this the graduation policy that we looked at last year
Yes.
for a while, a long while, regarding graduation if you are an IEP holder and walking with your cohort as opposed to waiting?
Yes.
That was just some clarification that I was wondering about too, because if you have a student who is receiving a CDOS, but it's not their 12th grade, what happens to our students who don't, what happens to our students who are 22 and that's when they get it?
So, for example, can I clarify, because I had the same question in my mind. It says in the policy in the first black letter paragraph, which is original wording, the district permits any student to participate in the graduation ceremony and all related graduation activities of their graduating high school class, which is defined elsewhere in this policy
Yeah, I see
as
it down there.
the cohort with whom a student enters ninth grade.
Mm-hmm.
If the student has been awarded a skills and achievement credential or CDOS, but the student may not be awarded that until later, until after. So should the word, is it as simple as changing the has been awarded or to be, is anticipated to be awarded? Like how, and maybe that would address the concern of children participating in activities and or ceremonies
Why don't we see
with
what-
their cohort.
Why don't we see what the superintendent
That's
recommends?
why I was asking.
It is my belief that, because you can go by cohort or you can go by your graduating class. Those are two different things. At the time the student receives their diploma or the alternate diploma is the time that they walk the stage. Because then what are they gonna do? Walk it a second time when they get the CDOS at a different, at 21 or 22? I'm not a proponent of allowing students to walk without having fulfilled their requirements. Now, have they gone to prom? Yes, they have. Have they gone to like dances, things like that? But the graduation ceremony, are we just handing them like an empty, I don't know how to say it, like an empty certificate cover, and then they come back in 2 years and they get to walk again? I guess, I don't know what has been practiced here, but I'm not a proponent of it.
It's been done both ways here, and it came up actually with a particular student. So my question though is, because there was something before, I don't see it, I don't know where it went, maybe somebody deleted it, but it had said something about, having discussed this in the IEP meeting, I guess, every year. It's supposed to be, sorry, CSE meeting every year. Is that in here? I don't know, it
But
wasn't.
that's procedural, that's not
Right.
policy.
Oh, well, that's fine. That's good then. But it was written somewhere, because I remember reading it. And if that didn't happen, that's where it can also get confusing, because the child may expect to walk with the kids that they enter ninth grade with, or even in our district, we have a lot of kids that come from kindergarten. So they have these relationships with the children. Yes, they may continue on, but, okay, well, we have to make a decision, I guess.
You wanna say something?
Yeah, so this particular paragraph is, the one in black is a
Yeah.
standard paragraph.
Uh-huh.
And, both
The
the,
BOCES.
yeah, thank you, BOCES and NISBA as well. And then what
Okay.
we have associated with it is a
Okay.
regulation that actually goes through what Dr. Chisholm said, the procedural part of what we would be doing.
Chris
in the
found it.
district.
The district will provide annual written notice of this policy and any related procedures to all students and their parents. So annually, they should be informed that they can go to graduation ceremony, all these things. But it says here they would participate in the graduation ceremony. You may not recommend that.
But the superintendent may not, but that's part of the, there's a regulation, 7221R, and it says for students so
We
identified in
didn't
the high
put the
school.
regulation on here.
We
But
couldn't,
go ahead.
yeah, we couldn't add it, but it was sent. The high school building principal or designee shall ascertain whether they'll get all the information. And with the families, they will determine in their final year of schooling, discussing the matter with the student and the parent and guardian, a person's relational, standing, in writing or via email by the 7th semester of their cohort's graduating year to make that
But
determination.
within that,
No, wait. Go ahead, what's your question?
within that phrase you're just saying, you mentioned the 7th semester of their cohort and their final year of
Right.
education, which could be later than the 7th semester, which I
Right.
think goes to trustee Sampaio's initial
That's
point.
confusing.
Right, so this is presented to the superintendent to make a determination with the families.
On the 7th semester.
7th semester,
That's-
by that time.
That's the fall. Am I doing that right? That's the
That's the
fall
fall,
of
yeah.
the graduating year. Why would we wait that late?
And if I just, again, clarification,
By-
Dr. Chisholm, you said that something in a minute ago, something about yearly.
So
So is
see-
that yearly starting what grade?
Well, we're talking about graduation, so
That
that
year of
usually starts with the
graduation.
cohort, and that's the year that you start your ninth grade year, that's when
Okay.
your clock starts ticking.
Okay.
So that's the time frame in which we're discussing this. Those annual meetings happen
Right.
every year, as you
Right.
know, right? But those conversations in terms of how students are progressing towards their graduation requirements, fulfillments, whatever it may look like for that student,
Okay,
should be taking place, whether the student has an IEP, and even for 504, they should be having transition meetings annually as well. Keeping all those things in mind, whether it happens at the 7th year for those participations, at the end of junior year, we're starting to have those transition
Yeah, it should
meetings
be
too.
before that.
What does senior year look like? Let's be realistic about senior year. Are we looking at an additional 5th year, 6 years? And I hate to put it out that way, but sometimes we do have students with IEPs that are so severe in their needs to even pass a Regents exam, we might need additional time. That's the time when those conversations should be happening. What I would always not want to do is kind of create a false hope or false narrative for some students who, I just don't want to do a false narrative for students who believe that they're going to be graduating and are not essentially graduating. So I think to keep it clean, it's the year in which the student is eligible to graduate is when they walk the stage.
Can I ask a question? No, in my head, I'm envisioning, what if we have a student, and I know all students are different, but what if we have a student that in their cohort's graduating year, they're ready to walk, and they have an understanding they're gonna be coming back for school, 8 to 3, whatever time, the exact time is. And then they're transitioning into a job. Like, do we have those transition services where our students are, where we work with employment places so that, and so then they come here 8 to 3 really to get the education part and then have a job or a trade or do something to try to move toward independence and adulthood. And they have an understanding. You review every year, you've already walked, but you're here just to kind of finish up your education and your training before leaving us on your own, and the parents have an understanding and it's clear. Would that be?
So I'm
Or
gonna
is that
back up a little bit
confused?
because something about walking just doesn't sit well with me. So if we took that part out of the scenario, those things happen, and that is part of the transition. It's not vested anymore. It's a different terminology for it. I'm probably dating myself by saying vested, but
There's still, I think there's still.
but there is
a
it's the vocational
have my
job employment
computer.
piece. And it depends on the goals that are found in the PLEPs of the students' IEPs. If it is going to work, it could still just be goals with going to transitioning into college, and then what does it look like as they transition now to a 504 to take with them to student support services, and do they need a testing separate environment at a college level? So I don't want to just make it just seem like they're going to work, because we do have students with IEPs who are very successful that can go on to four-year institutions. So it really depends on what that student's educational goal is, which is why it's an individualized education plan.
Right.
So I don't want to paint a broad brush for every student, but it does have to be based on the conversation. And in this case, at this grade and age level, the students are a part of their CSE.
Yes.
They are a member of their CSE. So they can also feed into that and describe what it is that they feel like they might need too, so. if that
I
makes
feel
sense.
like the initial question, as far as if I'm gonna get my credential
Next year, can I walk this
next year or in 3 up to the age of 22,
Right.
can I walk with my cohort? Because this assumes you're getting that CDOS in the same year as your
Senior year.
cohort. And so what about those off years? Are there different, what are
From what I
other options for
understand,
them to participate in graduation ceremony?
no, I understand, that's exactly the question. From what I understand from Dr. Chisholm, the
Yes.
The suggestion is the student walks when it's done,
When
Right.
it's
when
done.
everything is done.
But according to this policy, it sounds like they
It
would be able to
sounds different,
participate in
right.
graduating activities.
Well, it said
What-
this
wait, what did-
graduation
what they-
ceremony.
Well, it's split into 2 sections now,
And
ceremony
all-related
and activities.
Right now, we always do all activities. I think it's flip-flopped between the ceremony, and then we had a,
To me, there seems to be a sticking
I'm reading
point
it
with this,
differently.
with this ceremony, because there's no secret what my preference is, whether.
it's my preference too.
But if we're allowing a student to do everything that seniors do, except walk, there's some dissonance there to me. I worry about their emotional health too. They're doing everything that their cohort that they've been with since kindergarten, ECP for some of these students, and then they're not graduating with their cohort, and they're walking or graduating, whatever we wanna call it, with students that they might not know 4 years later, or, yes, anywhere between 1 and 4 years later. So, I don't know, that just sounds odd to me, that we're gonna let them do everything except the final piece, which is walking. I do know that varied districts throughout Westchester County have their policies, and while others have, like this, the discussion, and it's a one-shot deal between parents and the educators, and it's you walk one time. Whether you're getting your diploma or you're getting it later, that's it. If you walk earlier, you don't get to walk later. That's just something that I know from other districts in the area.
Does anyone else have any comments? It sounds like Trustee Valor might have another,
Yeah,
but yes.
I do.
Yes.
On the back page. Let me go to this section forward. All students may be prohibited from participating in the graduation ceremony or related graduation activities as a consequence of violating the district's code of conduct. It's very similar to Trustee Sambalayo. I feel like you can't have one or the other if you violate the district's code of conduct. So why do we have that there? It's kind of like, all right, you were naughty, but you can hang out and do the activities, but you may not be able to walk on the stage. I'm trying to figure out what's the difference.
First, we did move that paragraph earlier, just in case I don't remember when you walked in.
I was here.
Okay, sorry.
I was not paying attention.
To piggyback on your question, I'm assuming you may be prohibited from participating in one but not the other. I'm thinking more, because of experience, the timing of events.
Okay.
Let's say
That's
something happens between prom and graduation, well, you participated in prom, but now you can't do, so, but I don't know if that's the intention.
That's how I've initially seen it too, or have experienced it, unfortunately.
Or if,
Or
or
do you think
even
there
if
needs to be
it's,
clarified wording?
or even if,
Or.
or even if
Maybe it
it's a
should be.
minor.
But it
code
says
of-
May.
Right,
Sorry.
if it's a minor code of conduct violation in September, you may do restitution, do restorative practices, miss many of the activities, and then maybe by May, it is fine for you to go to prom and graduation. I don't know.
And I think it also would depend on what happened, right? So you got caught skipping school, I'm not gonna prohibit someone from, and that's why I think May kind of leaves it open. I'm not gonna prohibit somebody from going to prom or, however, what I will say is,
Depending on their attendance record.
it might depend on that, but attendance is not really linked to,
Performance?
it's linked to
We can- we
performance,
can-
but not to prom. But what I will say is, if it's something egregious, like you decide to do a senior prank and somebody gets seriously hurt
Or
at that time of
destroyed,
year,
destroyed.
something like that, you might find yourself not being able to participate.
That's not, I think
That's
Dr.
the
Njoku
So
had,
it's a case by case basis.
it sounded
Yes.
like, I think Dr. Njoku wanted to comment as well, trustee Davis.
I think that I heard someone say the same thing I was thinking, just putting and or in it to help with that
Is
sentence.
that-
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, and or.
And, yeah. And
And
then
also start the sentence with students instead of all or
Or any, I think we said any, we
Just,
were gonna
it should
put.
just say students may be prohibited.
Yes, students maybe. Let's-
Capital S.
Okay.
Thank you.
But in terms of the regulation, we would be working with Dr. Chisholm to adjust it.
Do we want to, and the answer may be no, but do we want to include, as you said, the student in their, it's not called the IEP meeting? CSE meeting, student in their CSE meeting will be involved in these decisions, or not, do we not?
And this-
They are in those meetings.
No, that's a given.
I know, I'm saying, do we wanna say that? Do we wanna say with the students' input?
Non-policy.
No, okay, no problem.
Good idea.
Yeah, I was just talking.
But that would be my expectation, having been a school counselor and
Right.
not just sitting in CSE meetings, but I actually was school counselors really should be the case managers for students with the 504s and still holding these same meetings too. That's important.
Either I'm not understanding how we're leaving this, or we haven't
That's a
arrived at
big-
clarity. Have we, to trustee Sampalayo's initial question, have we gotten clarity?
So I think that, if I could go back, because I think this question, question was around this paragraph. I don't read it that way. I read it that we permit any student who has, to participate in these ceremonies and graduation if the student has been awarded.
Has been awarded.
Yes, meaning they've earned it.
But
Not,
if I'm not
not
gonna
if they're
earn it-
going to be awarded.
But if I'm not gonna get it till next year or the year after because of the needs that I have, if I'm gonna be a super senior,
But that's what we would do for a general ed student too. Because we might have a general ed student who might be a 5th-year senior. So we don't wanna, I think we have to be very careful what kind of Pandora's box we open. I think we wouldn't do it for a student who is a 5th-year student that does not have an IEP.
so if we, so maybe I'm gonna play Solomon here. If there are graduation-related activities, which, let's just call them social,
Mm-hmm.
and there's the graduation ceremony, which is about completion,
That's right.
is there a way to say a student can participate in one but not the other? I mean, I know that doesn't solve all the concerns, but is that a way?
I'm sorry, I thought that was what we were,
That is what this
that
says.
is what we do, I thought.
I guess I'm not reading it that way then. Maybe we just need
Are
to look
you-
at this word.
Are you understanding
Because
that they don't
it's
do
saying
any
they have been
activities
awarded,
or
therefore they
just
can
graduation?
participate.
No, my understanding is,
They could do
So-
the activities.
the point of graduation is you're turning your tassel from right to left.
Right.
I'm saying to New York State that you have been duly sworn, completed all those things to meet the New York State standards for graduation, whatever your standards are, whether it's a CDOS,
Right.
whether it's a local diploma, whether it's a Regents diploma,
Right.
to turn that tassel.
Right.
You can do whatever activities you want to do, to me, in the school. I'm not gonna tell a student you can't, because you're not graduating, you can't go to class day or something like that. I don't think that's right. But graduation is the commencement. That's the end. If I can say that.
So when we look at the section on graduation-related activities, the
Oh,
two
yeah.
red paragraphs, is it because we're saying they are attending and participating in courses which will satisfy graduation requirements, whatever that may be, therefore they can participate in graduation activities?
If they're a student in good academic standing, or not academic standing, let me say that right. If they're making adequate progress towards school or towards completion, I wouldn't withhold them from activities during the school year.
Is there a way we can
Tighten this up.
get clearer wording?
Yep,
So
we can do
people
that.
like me don't have to read it 5 times?
So, and the
And I
seventh,
think you're reading it differently too, so my interpretation is different.
the seventh semester check is
Should be
guidance,
somewhere.
what?
It should probably be a little earlier, because I think.
Right, because I'm thinking annual reviews for the IEP kids is in the spring before, you're talking about the sixth semester, so are we, nobody's meeting with them again in the seventh semester.
Where did that seventh semester come from?
Right.
First
here,
paragraph
seventh
of the,
semester.
under graduation-related activities.
No, I know what you're saying in there, I'm trying to think about it.
Oh,
Okay.
that was an
And
additional.
I'm sorry,
Mhm.
President Mayor. I think earlier would probably be, that could be like a little check-in later on for those students who are kind of on the fence, but.
Yeah.
And that probably still will happen anyways
Oh.
too, right? So, even now it's happening in the second semester for students, so.
So,
Second semester, eighth semester.
are we gonna have a case-by-case basis? Because I do think about what Trustee Sampalayo said about the social and emotional health of a student who's been with their cohort for many years, has friends, they may be a social student, or even a non-special education student, or have that designation that just needs to take one more class or something, one more credit, one more Regents exam to pass. Do they wait a whole nother year? Like how, is it case by case?
And it's also probably district by district too. I've done August graduation ceremonies for
Right.
students who may
So
only
we're
be.
not doing that. So as per this
That's what I'm
policy,
saying.
so I'm just saying, unless you change the policy and we start doing
Can
that,
she answer me?
yes.
I'm just saying what has been done,
asking,
especially if it's a
case by
student who
case.
just needs like a summer school or a
Yeah,
Regents
that's what
exam in
I'm
August. And we
wondering,
might
yeah.
be able to do a small ceremony for them and their families so they're not missing out. But if we're talking about 2 additional years, a full additional year with a full caseload, but I just want to be careful opening that up.
But I hear you, you've just opened it up, and so I'm gonna direct you to, the second paragraph under graduation
For
related.
conversation.
Because if you're gonna change it to be match what you're saying, then I just wanna point out, second paragraph under graduation related activities, last sentence, under this policy, an eligible student who fails a course or state exam in June may participate in graduation activities, but not the ceremony. So
Then they
If-
have
if
to wait
admin
the
is gonna-
next year?
once the policy is set, I don't think, our idea, I believe, is no exceptions would be made. If we were going to create
Correct. I was just
roadmaps,
giving that
it
as
should
an
be
example
embedded
of
into
what
the
has
policy.
has been done. I'm not saying we're gonna do
No,
August
but-
ceremonies.
But if we're gonna look at this,
I'm not coming.
It's too much work.
that's way too hot though.
But to your example that you posed to her,
Yeah.
if I'm reading this policy, the answer is just no.
They have to wait till
Right.
It's
next
just
year.
no, right.
Right.
But they
So-
could still walk next year if they show up. We're supposed to be getting them enrolled and all of that too.
Right, here it does say that, they could choose not to.
So it's up to admin to recommend how they want to handle that example.
Right.
Do we-
Does the student keep in contact with the school, or do we call them in May, like, what's your size? Gonna get you in.
Well, they would have to come back and be prepared to sit for another exam or take the course again.
No, I mean, if they have a summer school, for example, just a summer class to graduate, they'd literally be not in school all year and then show back up in next year.
Have we had that situation?
I'm sure.
It's at least come close if it hasn't happened
Okay.
directly. So these are
Mm-hmm. No, I get it.
real live
I get it.
examples we should consider.
Okay.
Just to, I'm sorry to be a thorn, because I'm now rereading the first paragraph. And there's participation in the graduation ceremony and related graduation activities will be predicated on satisfactory completion of all graduation requirements. But then further on, or on discussion, because at this point I'm losing the thread, is student, hold on, where is it? At some point, we talked about students being able to participate in some of those graduation activities, although they might not be graduating with that cohort.
Yeah, that's under the graduation-related activities.
It's in two different paragraphs, so maybe we could also split out better
It needs to
ceremony
be
and activities.
Just reorganize altogether, because on the back page, you want to move the sentence up back to the
Am
front.
I reading it wrong though? Doesn't the first paragraph say you have to be on track to
Or as
graduate?
otherwise.
I'm sorry?
The next, right after, or as otherwise, just, described
Oh.
in this policy.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Redo,
You guys are-
but when we say redo,
She's gonna
I'd like
look at
to
it and move
understand
things
from the
around,
board, do
and
we
she's
move?
gonna make
so-
suggestions.
So my question to the board is, with the other ones that we're just making smaller changes to or have
This is the
simpler
big-
questions,
Yeah.
they're going to be presented to the public at the next meeting on the 24th.
Yeah, we might need to.
Do we want this pulled back for more board discussion after their
Yes.
changes, or do we want to
Yeah.
move? Okay, so this
Yeah,
is
we
going to
may
be,
need to
so
take-
Ms. Pineda, have you noted that that will come? Okay.
And Dr. Njogu, could you get this 722R, something R you said you were
Yes.
reading?
I think it was in the packet or something,
Yeah, but we don't have it.
right, because we
I don't have my
approve
computer.
policies.
I
With the
still wanna see
regulations,
what the
inform the board.
regulations say.
Agree. So, to that point, last thing, then we'll get off
I'll
this
take
policy.
ownership for that.
Sorry.
I wanted to make sure that the regulation was in the packet, but not part of the board piece, because it was
Oh,
a little
right.
separate, so.
722,
So, because quite just, and again, I don't remember the
what?
regulations, I did skim them. The district will provide annual written notice of this policy and related to all students. I think a question came up here, to which students? It does say all students and their parents. And I believe the last time we checked, a lot of our annual written notices are via the calendar. I think we did not see this one in the calendar. So if we could make a note, if that is our method for annually notifying people, to ensure this is there, it's not.
Okay.
And, or find a different way to annually
I'm taking
notify.
notes of that too? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, can we move on?
Yes, please,
Okay.
thank you.
Close. Sorry, I try to have 5 million. Okay, the next one is makeup credit. Programs for high school students. This, I don't have any narrative, so I don't remember if this was legal or us. Excuse me, Erie One or us. There are a few changes in here. I think this is one that I had a question on. Are there any comments, questions, suggestions?
Me.
Yep.
Question, I'm going on the back page, a makeup credit program may include but is not limited to, I'm going to letter B, taking the course again as part of a summer school program. We don't offer that, so how is that gonna work?
If you do all,
It could be any summer school program.
yeah.
Sometimes
Does the district pay
parents
for it too, or?
No.
pay
This-
for
this
children to
student
go
have to pay.
elsewhere.
Parents
Okay.
include.
It used to be that you go to White Plains.
Gotcha, okay, that's good to know.
I think we just want to put all options.
Then letter D mentions digital learning as an option, an online study. I want to tap into that because I've read something where digital learning is not as effective as something in person. So if our goal is to make sure children are graduating and doing so and understanding the fundamentals, is digital learning, why would that be an option? That's what I'm trying to say.
So, we do have like courses that students can take even during the school day. That's a part, it's like a grad point or something like that, where they're doing the self-paced instruction under the tutelage of a teacher, certified teacher. The option may be available for a student. It could be a course that is not, I'm just gonna make it up. It could be health. So rather than putting a kid into a health class that's only half a semester, how can they get that half-year credit and still be progressing in a full-year course? It could also be because there's no room in their course schedule, And so what other ways can we provide a means? So we want to make sure we put all options out there. The best option is to be in front of an instructor, but if that's not feasible, what other options can we put there for a student?
Okay. Lastly, there is a clause that says a voluntary participation. So participation in makeup credit programs is voluntary. Why would that be voluntary? Again, if our goal is to graduate our students to the New York standard.
I'm gonna ask you.
Oh, this right here was standard, we didn't make a change with this in terms of participation makeup.
Would
We're
it-
part of the school district, so that whether or not we offer it. So it's up to us whether or not we offer a program. We do.
Okay. It's voluntary on the part of the school district. Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Why would it be voluntary if we're trying to get these kids, children,
A school
to
district doesn't, I think what it's saying here is a school district doesn't have
Doesn't
to offer it,
have
but
to.
if
Well,
it
we
does.
should offer it. Isn't that the goal?
Yes.
So
It's
why
just,
would we?
it's just a pause.
All right, fine. I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it alone. I don't agree with it.
I think
That's
it's just
my personal
stating,
opinion.
and it says, you know, then it goes on to speak about the commissioner's regulations, so there's no requirement regulatory that we
By the
have to have
commissioner,
have.
that you have to have a
a
makeup
program.
program.
Right.
So this is just communicating that.
Again, if our goal is to have our students graduate as a New York State graduate, why would it be voluntary in the first place anyway? So my thing is this, let's say we all hit the lotto, everyone gets woo. This means that someone can come in here and take this program away.
Yes, and
That's
if,
my point.
and if the, say the budget were to get too tight, there could be a board that decides not to offer certain things like some of these programs.
That's not right. That's all I have to say.
No, it's not, but that's what we're trying to do. So while it's here as a stipulation,
Yeah.
so technically, we might decide we don't run any summer programming at all, even the 2-week summer intensive for Regents.
Right.
Right, that's voluntary, it's an expense to the district as well, but we are still doing those things for the exact reason that you shared. Trying to give the students extra chance, extra opportunities.
But we don't have to. We just choose to, yeah.
So,
Any
just
other
playing devil's advocate, if it was a mandate, so it was written in as a mandate, and we did not have any students that needed a makeup credit program, wouldn't we then still have to run it, even though we wouldn't have any children in it?
You would run it based on what your students' needs would be. So if we were required to do it, and if it was a mandate, and we had students that met that were eligible for it, then we would have to run it. If we didn't have students, then we wouldn't run it, but we would probably make parameters or plan for it just in case.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
I know it's not
I
what
was
this
thinking-
board would do,
I
but,
understand why it's not written in that way, so that we're not backing ourselves into a corner and
Right.
we leave ourselves some flexibility. But I also understand the point that if someone wanted to go slash happy and start cutting stuff, that could be something people might be inclined to do, even if it's not best practice.
And we also don't want, even though there's a couple of things that have come down that are mandated, right, for districts and schools to do, as much as we can not have the state and people mandate for us to do things, that's what we would prefer.
Just on this policy, I have 2 questions. On that second page, makeup credit shall be awarded to a student enrolled in an educational program administered by a state agency. What is a state agency?
Would be a New York State approved school.
So a state, like, educational?
like White Plains. So like you can't go to
Should we-
Chris Valens School of Education and say, oh yeah, she took algebra with me.
So should we put on some adjectives there, or?
You know what I'm saying?
Because it could be the Chris Ballin School.
But isn't it the, are we looking at those schools that have the, like, state, should we say like a, accreditation, like the, middle states is one of the accreditations for schools.
I mean, it does say educational program administered by, but I don't know if it has to be, like you said, accredited. Just food for thought.
It's directly taken from the regulation. So it's offered like by BOCES, state agency, they have that listed within there. So we can take a look again just to pick up against the regulation, but it's directly from.
Okay. And lastly, this is just me following on the same page, just that D3 includes regular and substandard interaction, blah, blah, blah. Agree. pursuant to clause 3 of subparagraph 2 of this paragraph, I got lost in that, in the pursuant tos. Because then we say of this paragraph, so I just, again, got lost. So if we could just ensure that the reference there is correct or clear, because,
It's copied from the legislature.
right, that's,
Just take that last part out of it.
right, if we just delete it, maybe that's good enough. Okay. Next is, I believe the last one, yes. Erie one's numbering was 7223, we have 7223, so this is 7225, advanced coursework, which got stripped out of that graduation requirements earlier. So this is a new sample policy related to that. So the black lettering is what came from Erie one for the new policy that came in 2024, and the red is admin or legal. Any comments, questions, suggestions? Seeing none, I'll add mine. Where did it go? Unless I misremembered. President Mears?
So this accelerated coursework for 8th grade students, is there a way to write this to be less, I guess, specific? Because we, like right now, we may offer 8th graders to take 9th grade math and one other thing, but our one other thing I think is science.
Or foreign language.
Foreign language is true too. But we also list social studies, we also list art, music, career, and tech, and we don't currently offer that. But what if someone were to say, well, your policy says my student can take this advanced
I'll say
thing.
that, I believe this language came from, I think you're voting.
Yeah, well, I want the superintendent to answer, but,
I'm gonna go faster.
okay. I'm wondering, if there can be a way to make it more general, or do we have to specifically say these courses? Do you know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. So what you're saying is speak specifically to the ones that we are offering advanced placement in.
Yeah, or even
As
just
opposed to-
general, because what if it changes?
Mhm,
Like if we,
mhm.
so do
So
other
maybe-
schools allow,
So maybe we could, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, do other schools allow, a 8th grader to take a higher level of social studies or something?
Possibly,
Okay.
but,
Like a pre-AP?
because sometimes, at one school I was in, they did, US history and government, they flipped it.
They allowed it, yeah.
But what I'm thinking here is that this is based on course offerings as well, so it's the offerings of this, so maybe. we
Oh,
can
does it
also
say that in there?
It doesn't. It says it later, it says something about it later on.
Well, maybe
but
we should say that there, yeah,
Right, so what's
based
the-
on
based on course
course
And I
offerings.
will shorten that up, so.
Well, the reason all the options are there is because the law says math and at least one of the areas. It doesn't say, and it's a may, it's not a,
Mm-hmm.
will do all of these.
Right, but what if you say, I don't wanna take science, I wanna take an advanced English?
Well, that
And your
goes back to
policy
the course
says,
offerings.
yeah, that's what I was asking
So-
for more, okay, thank you.
Anyone else? I'm gonna say my thing, which is, we have a couple sections. We have accelerated coursework for 8th grade students, AP classes, IB classes, and under each one, using written criteria, the superintendent or designee will determine whether in 8th grade. Under AP, it says building principal or designee will determine whether. And under IB, it says superintendent or designee shall determine a student's readiness. So do we want consistency as to who's determining readiness for a student to take these classes?
Yes. We're gonna put the board.
Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, who's,
Yeah.
you agree?
Yeah.
And who's gonna be this person?
I'll discuss it with the superintendent.
Okay.
Okay, and then we do see notification at the end. You guys, looks like you guys have specified June 1st of each year.
Oh,
Hmm?
I have a question on something else. I'll come back. I'll wait.
beginning in grade 5 or one grade prior to the first year, but, so it would be grade 5 in this case, because of the way the policy's written. So I'm hoping electronically or by mail, and be posted on the district website. So I'm hoping to hear that we're tightening up the inaction of these notifications.
Well, ironically, there was a Lansing High
Another
School
timeline.
PTA meeting the other night, and, last night, and, we talked about notifying sixth graders about Woodlands. What if we just have like a in-person thing for parents to be notified about fifth grade? Or were you suggesting just like a letter to go out?
I'm not suggesting
If it's not
how, I'm
written,
just wanting to
then
ensure
you
it's
can't prove
happening.
that you did it.
What?
If it's not written, then you can't prove that you did it.
Okay,
And not everybody shows up.
that's true. My
Any other-
question was, yes,
Yep.
back to C, I don't know what number that was. The course, types of coursework under International Baccalaureate. It says students enrolled in the IPD diploma course are required to sit for the IB exam in the final year.
It also says that for AP, and it says it on the other sections.
So what does that mean?
They could take them in there.
It says required. In order, does it mean required in order to receive the diploma or the credit?
The grade in the class.
Or-
The expectation is that if they're taking the exam, if they took the course for AP and IB, it's also in the course.
What if a student gets through the course and then doesn't wanna take the exam?
They
Just
selected the
curious.
course, because within the course catalog,
Mhm,
I've seen,
mhm.
it states also, for the last couple of years,
Yeah.
that the expectation is that you're taking the exam. You selected this course, advanced course, for the purpose of this experience, to take the exam for potential credit.
Does non-participation in the exam affect the student's course grade?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what does that mean? What does required mean?
It's expected that they sit for the exam.
And what if they don't?
It's a commitment, it's a commitment. It's you're
Do you
going
understand
through.
what I'm saying?
I do.
If we, like,
But
It's the same thing like if you have, a concert band. The
Yeah.
expectation is that you
Participate in the performance.
mhm.
I think if we, so,
I'm not saying
We
it's
talk
not
about
an
rigor and
expectation. I'm
expectations.
saying what happens if. I'm saying what happens if the required is not met? Is there a consequence?
And they'll pass the class.
Is it, or they fail the class? Is it, or they, that's what I'm at. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Lower grade.
what if I sit for AP whatever, can I then go and take the Regents and like, whoa, this class, I sat through this through May, it's not what I thought, but now I just wanna take the Regents level exam. I'm not trying to be difficult, I'm really wondering what required means.
Does this question apply to the AP? Students enrolled in AP courses must take the advanced placement
Yes.
exam?
Well, yeah, all of the required must, that
These are
indicates
advanced
a,
expectation.
That's the
Require-
expectation of
right.
advanced course.
that indicates a consequence of some sort.
It indicates an
Am I messing that up?
expectation.
yeah, not a consequence, but it's an expectation.
It's an expectation.
If we move it, then there is no expectation to do that. Then you have kids getting higher GPAs and then they'll have to sit for AP or for IB.
No, I didn't wanna take it out, I wanted to add. In order to,
Clarification.
right, in order to receive the diploma, or if not met, then what happens? That's all.
Okay, well, that's probably.
Oh,
That's a good discussion.
yeah, all right, we'll think about it, we'll keep going. 'Cause what happens if, I don't know.
Very well understood.
I mean, I would have to ask, I've never asked, like, what is normally done?
Yeah,
when
and
a
I don't
kid
know what's been
decides-
normally done here, but my
Yeah, I know, I
expectation, if you're sitting in this class and you're looking for the weighting and all those other things,
Right,
then
right.
you sit till
Take
the
the
end and
exam.
you sit for the.
Exam.
But I know it doesn't happen, but I also know we have parents that pull their kids out of the
Neat.
course, and then we gotta
I've
figure out
seen
where to
that.
put them because the
Oh,
the
I'm
rigor.
very close to it, depending on.
And related to the notification, I'm gonna hide that comment you just made, by saying in the notification section, it does say, one of the things we're notifying is the description of the support we give, including financial, and for these children enrolled in AP and IB classes, we've already registered them to take these tests and have paid fees for them. So I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions, comments, suggestions on the policies? Seeing
I
none?
just have one more.
Oh, there's a question.
There, I'm sorry, I was not here for this part. The annual organizational meeting.
Yes.
I had trouble understanding that date, all right, the annual organizational.
know.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
It's copied from, I think, the law that was, that Governor Hochul recently passed. It is basically up until, let's say,
Or number
We
four,
can-
the
we can
Monday
now
after the
have
20th
meetings
day.
farther down in the month of July than we
Right.
could before.
Right.
And if,
Right.
This gives you more time.
Gives you a little bit of a window with the
if,
summer months.
July,
20th.
21st is a Monday, then that's too late for us to have a meeting, for example.
So like this July 20th is a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So on or before the Monday after the 20th. So this is on the 20th,
So that would be the
so that was it. That's
Drop
the
dead
day.
date we could,
But if it were the,
so we could not have a meeting on the 21st this
right.
month.
But if it were the 14th,
That's fine too.
Yeah.
then
right,
we
exactly.
We
could
can
go
do it any
another,
day, so this year,
another
Up
week.
until the
in your
20th.
example, we
Yeah.
can do it any day up to and including the 20th of July because of
Mhm.
the 20th falling on that Monday.
It's silly.
I know.
It
Boards have been
is. I read it 10
advocating,
times. I
boards
read
have
it.
been
Or
advocating for
wording.
flexibility for
They're all
years on this.
So it's the week of the
Right.
week of the
Tuesday
20th.
Before the 20th?
No, it's the week of the 20th. If the 20th falls on a Tuesday,
That's the Monday after.
then it's the Monday after.
No.
It's the week of the 20th.
No,
Yes,
you couldn't,
yes.
no,
It's
it would be the
silly. It's silly.
19th in that case.
It wouldn't. It said on or before. Oh, you're right.
But could it just
The
be the 20th?
The week
Because if the.
up to the
No.
20th.
Right, so you don't.
The Monday,
But it's the
After
Monday.
the
before the
20th.
Before.
20th. So if the 20th is
Before
a
the
Tuesday, you can only do
Before
it
the
up
Monday,
to the
after
19th.
The 20th.
Right, but
The
that would
Monday
be the
that-
same.
It's
as
the, it's the
just-
before and after.
Before the Monday.
I mean, just
after
on
the
the
20th.
20th.
No, because the
It
20th
wouldn't
is
matter
the
what day
Tuesday.
of the
Can we just move to the,
We're
I'm gonna
really
turn the meeting
arguing
back
a
over
point
to
that doesn't
President
matter.
Harris.
I guess
It's
it's
just gonna be like,
seems like
this
an
is the day we're going to
act-
meet, that's it.
If we're going back and
President Maris?
forth, don't you think?
I
the
would
public
trust
go back
that
and
Chris
forth?
Ballard is doing the
Or
right
is
thing.
it when we get in July?
Okay. Any more questions, comments, concerns about the policy? No, let's keep going. 7:31. Okay, next on the agenda are reports. Our ex officio student member is not here. And our board president's report is going to be, well, I'm gonna say have a great winter break. Most people are gonna be off except for our staff is gonna be here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Are those days?
Yes.
Yes. Most of our staff should be here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, not the instructional staff, the teaching staff, and not the students. And just be safe, have a great break, and keep warm and stay healthy. I always say be kind to each other. I'm gonna stop talking so we can move on to the superintendent of schools. It's 7:32.
Yep, I just want to make a couple of quick announcements. One, on March 17th from 8:30 to 3:30 will be the 11th Annual Fathering Conference at the Westchester County Community Center. And I wanted to share that because I'll be serving on a panel with Superintendent Mauricio from Peekskill, Dr. Reynolds from New Rochelle, and Dr. Ricca from White Plains, talking about engaging fathers in the education of their children. So if people are available to come out and attend that, that would be great. And then I also wanted to tell everyone, just stay warm. I understand we have some inclement weather coming, so just warm, dress your children warm, coming to and from school, some of the things that what the kids are wearing. So we want to make sure people are safe and well. And that ends my report.
Wonderful, thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns about the report? No, you're none, let's keep going. Committee reports, does everyone have their committee reports?
Of course we do.
Wonderful, first we'll start with our audit committee.
Okay, we briefly met on Monday, that would be yesterday, February 9th, to review the final, I'm gonna get the name wrong, so I'll just call it the federal audit, a single audit of a single stream of federal programs.
No, it was
Yeah.
very-
The point
it's really
is,
long.
it took this long to do, it's normally included as part of the external audit, but due to the government shutdown, the auditors weren't able to get the information from the federal government for us to be able to complete that report. There were no findings, so it was a quick 5-minute meeting, and that will be presented to the board for approval later this month.
Okay, great. When's your next meeting?
It's TBD. We're waiting on the internal auditors to finish the first part of the review of this year.
Great. CEC meeting?
The Community Engagement Committee met on 2/20/26 at 7 p.m. in the Highview Cafeteria. We, one, heard an introduction to the Woodlands Individualized Senior Experience, AKA the WISE program. The coordinators this year are Samantha Angeletta, who spoke, and Darren Greaves. WISE allows second semester high school seniors to have a WISE project, either an internship or an independent study on any topic they want. The students choose a mentor, keep a daily journal, and give a final presentation. In addition, there are participation in government and regular exercise requirements, and students receive instruction in common topics like presentation skills and research. We had a long discussion about the strengths and challenges facing the WISE program. The coordinators are looking for volunteers for the WISE task force to help with things like journal reading, planning field trips, internal internships, evaluating projects, and new ways to adapt the program. The task force meets regularly. For more information, contact Elizabeth Huber at EHUBER@greenbergcsd.org. That's EHUBER@greenbergcsd.org. 2. The Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Njoku, spoke on NYSED's New York Inspires program, including Portrait of a Graduate, project-based hands-on learning, becoming curious and compassionate leaders, how the regents are not going away but won't prevent future students from graduating, and statewide migrations to a single diploma. For more information, Google NY Inspires Video. NY Inspires Video. 3, Assistant Superintendent for Business, Shonda Merrill, discussed upcoming 26-27 budget. Superintendent's draft budget will be presented at the 310 Board of Education work session. The next CEC meeting is on 3/11. It is a combined meeting with the Finance Committee. We will review the draft budget. Budget vote is by the public is 5/19, so we're trundling along towards there. 4, discussed recent events, including the Superintendent's State of the Schools presentation and the R.J. Bailey Winter Concert. 5, discussed upcoming events such as World Read Aloud Day, which happened last Wednesday. I know that we had over 80 parents signed up. Do we know how many actually showed up?
Oh, we don't have that here.
Okay. Well, over 80 parents and community volunteers, plus Woodlands High School students, read nonfiction books at our elementary students. STEAM Night and IB Visual Arts show are coming March 12th. This year's musical is The Lightning Thief, Woodlands. Opening is March 13th. 6, brief facilities status updates on various projects. I'll talk about that in the facilities report. 7, organizing alumni. Those interested in starting an alumni association may provide contact information at tinyurl.com/woodlandshsalumni. That's tinyurl.com/woodlandshsalumni. 8, outreach to non-parents and opportunities for community participation. 9, planning meetings and events this year. We've done or have planned Meet the PTAs, Special Education, Athletics, State of the Schools, WISE, the 2026-27 budget, and the Town Hall Art Show. We have 2 slots left for ideas, so that's how far we've gotten our planning. 10, the Nettie Jackson Extra Mile Award. Nettie Jackson was an activist and a beloved student mentor at Lee F. Jackson. The award honors community and staff for going the extra mile to help students. The community makes nominations, and a panel of judges decides the winners. We need a board member to volunteer to be on the judges panel. Does anyone wish to volunteer?
You know, I always want to do it, but
Okay. Tracy
I don't know
volunteer?
if anyone else. Does anyone know
That's okay.
Eddie Jackson?
You volunteer.
She was a great lady.
What?
Thank you.
Nettie Jackson was. You knew her.
Nettie Jackson?
Yeah,
I don't think I ever met her.
B.F. Jackson's mother.
yeah.
No, I know who she is, I don't think I ever met her.
The volunteer. Does
Okay.
anyone?
I said I would. Do you want to do it?
No, not
You
this
know
year.
her.
The next meeting of the Community Engagement Committee is 3/11/26 at 7
I
p.m.
think it should be someone else.
It'll be a combined meeting with the Finance Committee. We will be reviewing the superintendent's proposed budget on the 2026-27 school year. That's it.
Thank you. Education Committee.
Something like. Okay, we met on January, on January 15th, thank God I did these minutes. It was an instructional focus on the English language learner, multilingual learner program. We reviewed various definitions around our ELL students and how students are identified and placed when they arrive as English language learners. We reviewed different student data points. I feel the questions, just getting prepared. We recognize that within that data, the student cohorts may change each year because of incoming students and leavers. And then we looked at the bilingual education options that may be explored soon because we are at the threshold of 20 students or more within one grade level who speak the same home language. We are near that threshold or at that threshold in 3 grades currently, 1st grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. So we need to continue exploring what we need to do and when, and there was basic information given out about the transitional bilingual education and dual language education. Dual language education can include one way, which is primarily focusing on the English language learners, and two-way, which serves both ELLs and English proficient students. There are various next steps which are going to be identified, but at this point, as far as the board is concerned, we're waiting for administration to move certain pieces forward. And I do anticipate that sometime within the next, let's say 9 months, what month are we in? 9 to 10 months, we might have an official presentation at our board meeting. And I'm not just making this up. Okay.
No?
Okay. That's very brief. Next meeting will be February 26th at 7 p.m. We will be looking at, I have it open, multi-tiered systems of supports, the integrated, which will include things like the International Baccalaureate approaches to learning, academic intervention services, I hope I'm not, and SEL and behavioral,
This is on her list.
SEL and behavioral preventions and interventions.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Questions? Yes?
Sorry, stressed out.
I didn't prepare.
I know that the SEL aperture survey was done. Will results from that be at that meeting potentially, or will that be coming more to wellness committee?
There are still a few students who still need to complete
Okay.
their aperture due to logging in issues, and that was updated today. So once we get that, I will learn how aperture, this is my first time with aperture, learn how they actually collect the data.
Okay,
So
yeah,
once
'cause
I understand it, we'll share it.
I wasn't sure if that would be an education committee thing or a wellness committee thing,
Um,
and so that's why I was curious. It overlaps, so.
Yeah, it wouldn't be for this upcoming meeting,
Okay.
because I wouldn't have been able to look at it.
Okay, Finance Committee. That's you again.
Okay. We just met yesterday, February 9th. I have to look at my agenda because I haven't done the minutes yet. We were discussing, we've been discussing all your different parts of, different pieces of the budget to understand what gets reported to the board, what kind of questions we ask, how can we use this information, and how does it fit into the budget. That's kind of the general focus. So this focus on yesterday was on the BOCES cooperative services and any cross contracts that we have. We examined the services that we received. We heard from Dr. Chisholm how she's doing a utilization review to see she and the team can identify what services should be the most bang for our buck. We looked at different state aid, how state aid works with regard to the BOCES aid and what our ratio is and how that is applied to the different BOCES contracts, because it's not the same ratio for every BOCES item. So there's an average, but it depends on what the items are and then what's included within those items. So we learned a little bit about that. We discussed, is it possible to track some of those aidable things to ensure that we're getting the monies that we should be, and the business office shared with us some reports that they've gotten from BOCES that break down how they calculate the aid reimbursements. We learned that the reimbursements are coming to us on, of course, a delayed basis after we have our BOCES budget, but then we have our actuals, so we get the aid based on the actuals. And the BOCES aid projected for next year is based on our actuals from, let's say, 2 years prior. So there's always a lag time. BOCES aid does get to us in 3 installments, 2 during the current school year and 1 in the next budget year. After that, we looked at the cafeteria fund piece to see, we discussed very briefly our community eligibility provision, how next year we are going to need to apply for a renewal of that because of the percentage who enable us to get that provision. We're over the minimum that would give us a grace year. So we'll be up for applying. We looked at how to read the treasurer's reports on the cafeteria fund. And summary, we tried to ensure, can we identify if we're breaking even, or do we have to take money from the general fund to pay cafeteria fund programs? And the good news is that more or less we break even, or save enough money, or don't spend as much money so that we've been able to do some equipment upgrades in the kitchens for the last year plus. And then we briefly discussed advocacy efforts and upcoming budget workshops, which I know is what we're all waiting to hear about. As Trustee Warner just alluded to, Finance Committee will combine with the CEC Committee on March 11th at 7 p.m. at RJ Bailey, most likely in the library, but the location will definitely be shared out, and it will have a virtual component. I'll slow down now. The RJ Bailey PTA reached out to Ms. Merrill, and she's agreed to join a PTA meeting that will occur on Saturday, March 14th at 2 p.m. at the Bailey Building in person. So anyone would be willing, who's able to attend that meeting is welcome to show up there, 2 p.m. Saturday, March 14th at RJ Bailey. Ms. Merrill has also found a date where we can add in an additional workshop ahead of the budget adoption date. That date is Tuesday, April 14th, most likely at Highview School. We've discussed 2 times, so let's say the time is either 6:30 or 7, so that'll be confirmed on the calendar once it's set. Then there will be a Monday.
I'm getting all my date. I'm just saying.
Okay, that's all. We're not meeting anymore.
How much more stuff you got on the agenda?
We have a meeting scheduled for Monday, April 27th, but we will be looking for feedback from the public on whether we will hold that meeting, but it's still there for now. Monday, April 27th at 6:30 p.m. at the high school. And the last budget workshop will be Tuesday, May 12th at 7 p.m. at the Bailey Library with a virtual component.
Can you just do those dates again?
Wednesday, March 11th, 7 p.m., Bailey. Saturday, March 14th, 2 p.m. at a Bailey PTA meeting.
March 14th or February?
March 14th.
Oh.
Saturday.
It's not this Saturday, it is March
Pi
14th.
Day.
Tuesday, April 14th at Highview. Monday, April 27th at 6:30, Williamsville High School. Tuesday, May 12th, 7 p.m., Bailey. I'm done.
When's your next meeting?
I just named them all.
No, your next, okay.
Those are
Do
the
you
meetings.
have any regular finance meetings?
Those are,
Those are
no,
the budget meetings.
those are finance/budget workshop meeting.
Okay, wonderful. Jeez. Okay, facilities committee?
Okay. For facilities, we have a report and the status of the recommendations. First, the report. The Facilities Committee met on 2/5/26 at 6:30 p.m. in the Woodlands Innovation Lab. We discussed, 1, the water main project at Woodlands. Piping is complete. We need to connect with the water system. At the west end, the Stone Oaks attorney is researching a license to give us access to make the hookup. At the east end, the town stopped us from doing a dry tap because the valves were not arranged as they thought, and we would need a permit to turn off the water for a large number of residents in order to do a dry tap. We can do a wet tap, in which we don't turn off the water, for an additional $29K. Item I1 on tonight's agenda is a change order authorizing this. 2, the track surface is on hold until spring, with a tentative ribbon cutting date for Eller Memorial Field of June 9th. 3, the energy performance contract is done except for the battery energy storage system hookup. The switchgear has arrived, but we have a lot of snow on the ground. We're about 3 weeks from completion, weather permitting. 4, the Highview and Lee F. Jackson roof replacement bids are in. There are items I2 and I3 on tonight's agenda. We're negotiating how to deal with summer camps while keeping the children safe. 5, Woodland Science Lab bid opening is tomorrow. It's still on?
Which one?
6, the ECP kitchen upgrades are complete. 7, Lee F. Jackson trees were trimmed in anticipation of the roofing project. 8, R.J. Bailey problems with the boiler room condensate pumps were fixed. We're checking on nighttime lighting problems outside the building. 9, Woodlands, there are several street lights out along Pat Capone Road. We're waiting on the weather to trace the lines to see where the short is. The loose bar in the Freelo Center here was fixed. The stage lighting project has been delayed and is to be completed the 3rd week of February during the winter break. The Black History IB celebration is scheduled for February 27th. The Lightning Thief opens on 3/13. 10, we looked at options for future projects. BVS provided revised cost estimates for most options. Options are priority 1 and 2 items from the building conditions survey. Exterior shells, that's doors and walls and windows. Management ventilation. ECP classrooms at Lee F. Jackson. Soccer field and baseball field upgrades. Rooftop solar panel energy performance contract. A cell tower on the Woodlands campus. And the plan is to prioritize the options, mix and match our projects, and check funding sources. This will have no impact on our budget for 2027. This will have no impact on our budget for 2027. The next meeting of the Facilities Committee is 3/4/26 at 6:30 p.m. at the Woodlands Innovation Lab. Now, the recommendations. The board was polled on our Facilities Committee recommendation to issue an RFP for rooftop solar panels failed since we did not have specific information on the costs associated with issuing an RFP. BBS has confirmed that they did not charge for a similar RFP in 2021 and will not charge us anything for this RFP either. Requested that the ISB, Merrill, issue an email on the cost of advertising. What is it, $182? $182 for advertising that RFP. That leaves legal fees and, Carol?
No fee for RFPs.
Okay. So that's where we're at. So the cost is $182. For the superintendent, the administration will issue a recommendation on public use of the tennis courts at the 2/24 Board of Education meeting. That's it.
Trustee?
My request wasn't the cost of an RFP. I wanted to know how much a solar panel project would cost the district. That's what I was asking.
So
Do we have an estimate of them?
Well,
We
I
had
mean,
an
it's one of those, it's an energy performance contract. So in theory,
What?
right, the the cost is made up for by the savings.
Eventually.
Otherwise, yeah.
I mean,
Right, but it's
The
front,
cost-
it's
You
front
still gotta put
costs.
some money out though, am I right? You're not, they're just not gonna, no, I think you have to put money out to get the materials and all that stuff and do the labor.
And you actually have a loan, but the loan and the interest on the payments of the loan
Okay.
are supposed to come from the, yeah, that's what the proposal will be.
But it's,
Can I get to the more
Yeah.
immediate thing? If the administration decides to move forward and propose that an RFP be issued, a request for proposal be issued, those proposals will give us the information on what people would be budgeting the cost and potential savings to be before we choose a contractor. If we choose, we can get the RFP and say, oh, this isn't what we expected, we're not gonna go forward with the project. Or we can say, this seems like it would be cost effective and helpful for the district and we're gonna choose one of these contractors. So the immediate decision point right now for the administration is, do we go for an RFP or not? The part you're asking about, we won't really have all that information until we get the bids in.
Well, why don't we
The
have a
proposals.
general idea if people work on this stuff all the time? A district your size, it might cost X, Y, and Z. Why doesn't anyone have a ballpark figure? That's what I'm trying to get at. I don't work out on things without having an estimate or an idea of where it could go or a range. Why don't we have a range? That's what I'm asking. That doesn't make sense to me.
about,
So we're using the RFP process to get an estimate.
But why doesn't someone have it before an RFP comes out? That's all I'm trying to say. You have professionals
do you
and
want to
experts
pay
in
for
the
that?
field. Pay for what? You should be able,
Because
not
you'll
you,
be
but
paying
someone.
more than $183.
Oh, forget it. I'm done. I'm just finished. I get my point, and that's all that matters. I'm sorry.
so I get your point, and I think it's a fair question. We definitely could get information on how much solar panel projects are in neighboring districts or in other districts that have done these projects. Why couldn't we get that? That's a fair question. And then you would have a range, because you would see how much it costs in some of the other districts. Granted, ours may be a little different, because we have, the size of our buildings, et cetera, but that's I think it's a fine question.
RFP info from surrounding districts.
But so the question is what? You guys, administration would like to move forward to get an RFP. That's what it sounds like. Is that the ask?
Well, she didn't make the recommendation yet, did you?
Oh,
I didn't make any recommendation.
okay. No, facilities committee is making a recommendation.
The facilities committee made a recommendation based on the architect going and finding out that certain tax discounts are gonna sunset based upon the one big beautiful bill.
Which we already knew about a long time ago. I'm not gonna go
Yep.
there either.
Yep.
I'm not. Because
So
I'm not
they
happy
say
with the timing of that either.
You got, you use it or lose it, so that's where we're at.
Okay, any other, when's your next meeting, trustee Warner? In March?
Yes. The next meeting of the Facilities Committee is March 4th, 2026 at 6:30 PM in the Woodlands Innovation Lab.
Wonderful.
So do we have any action items based upon trustee Warner's report?
Do you have any recommendations?
Not at this time.
Okay. So we only really take action based off of the superintendent's recommendation. Now, if there's a discussion item, it's next on the agenda. We can definitely discuss things, but our administration has to make recommendations for us to approve or not. Governance Policy Committee.
Next meeting is pending information
You
from
sent
my
an
committee
email
members.
today. I saw an email today. You know how I feel about Tuesday emails. Everyone's gotten much better, I must say.
Follow-up email.
Okay, last meeting. No?
I did the report on that a month ago.
Yep, wellness.
We met on January 16th. We had 10 students in attendance, which was awesome, ranging from middle school to high school. We also had a member of the district communications team and Principal Rossi to represent RG Valley, so we could try to get all of the hive mind together and come up with forward-thinking ideas. We adopted our charges for the year. Unfortunately, Whitson's couldn't attend, but there was a lot of feedback from the students about the food and ways to garner information through our feedback form. They suggested that the most likely way to get that feedback on a regular basis would be to post to Google Classroom with some bursts occasionally on the website, and also with some teachers reinforcing it, like Ms. Parker at Bailey, like teachers that are involved in the health curriculum. They also had a lot to say and some really good ideas about ways to engage students at all of the buildings. We're gonna try to see about having students in different buildings Zoom in to our meetings as well, so they can participate. Because each building has its own things that they need to kind of reflect on and give us information about. There was a push for involving social media that the students got to make in their own content, in their own voice, because they listen to each other more than they listen to adults telling them things. They also recommended putting flyers in the lunch line with QR codes, because after school and before school, they still have their phones and they can look at stuff, but they don't really look at the TV screens in the cafeteria, they look at the paper flyers. So that was a surprising bit of insight. And we basically none of them go to the website or have the app, which is fine. But so we talked about the other ways to build some activity there, and maybe there's incentives or like contests if you like log into this or you add this or send in enough feedback forms, whatever. We were coming up with a bunch of stuff. But they were very actively engaged. They really emphasized wanting ways to build trust so that the students trust the adults, that they believe their voices, that they care about what they have to say, and that their voices result in actual change. And so we brainstormed some ideas of ways to highlight when those moments happen so that students, it's a reinforcing system. What else? They also had some comments about some of the presentations and community partnerships that we've used in the past, that it's the same presentation year after year, and that they would, like, they were just like reciting things spontaneously. So changing it up a little, adding some personal stories, having maybe past students come and talk about their experiences in some of these areas. They mentioned that No Place for Hate has kind of dropped off a lot this year, and we're looking for that. And there was also a push for, we did a little tangents, but wanting, part of the student voice piece was having students be able to participate in more outside conferences and other activities, one for college applications and also just for experience and the recognition of how amazing Woodland students are, and they're not always given that moment to shine in public so that their voices can be heard more broadly. And we talked a little bit about the SEL Aperture Survey happening, and hopefully we'll see if it's not in education and if it is in wellness. Either way, I'm super curious to see the results, and we'll discuss them at least in how they fit the policy. And we're going to continue working on the policy in our next meeting, which is February 27th from 12:30 to 2:30. Yes.
I have a question. So I feel like there's and I guess also admin. Who's your admin? Is anybody from your admin?
We have a lot of admin on the committee. Mr.
Oh,
McCoy is our liaison. But that meeting, we have Ms. Rossi, we have Mr. Hanratty.
Oh, good. So I'd be interested though because I feel like
Ms.
there's
Bell was
this.
part of the committee too, but she was there.
Oh, okay. I feel like there's this push-pull with wanting like world education, leaving campus, having experiences, and what's the term that we had last year? Butts in seats, right? And you know, our test scores are 50% on reading level, on math level. So how do we, and maybe this is just a rhetorical question for you guys to think about, how do we balance that? How do we match that? I like trips. We talk about trips, and we talk about the imbalance of trips in certain buildings, certain grades, whatever. How do we balance, because there is true wealth of knowledge leaving campus and going on trips and having real world experiences and seeing things with your own eyes and having to do that in a cohort and then coming back and discussing it in class. But when the butts are not in the seats, right, and there's a requirement by the state and there's performance concerns for some, but not all. How does that, I mean, I don't know if the kids talk about that at all? And is there a way to really make the environment where the kids are supposed to be more wealth of knowledge, you know, so that they kind of don't really want to leave as much and they can get more from here, whether it's zooming in calls or zooming in, you know, other classrooms in other places, or is there a way to creatively create interest with the butts and the seats?
Well, I think that's kind of what they were asking for too, like, don't just have outside people come in and talk to us. Like, let us tell our stories, let us communicate with each other, so that there is somewhat of that shared experience. Like, your experience and my experience, we're both in the same class, but our life experiences are different. Like, can we share those with each other in a space? And I think, honestly, because I'm always geared towards like the SEL, social emotional development, like kids learn better with real experiences. And I think if we're going to be a true, basically pre-K through 12 IB district, if you're building a global student, like they need experiences beyond these walls. And I understand that there's mandates, and I understand that there are restrictions and stuff like that. But I think any opportunity we have to give students those experiences, and it not just be like little clusters of kids, because like the kids that were in that committee like actively wanted to be there, right? So you're gonna have a self-selected group of kids communicating what they specifically think. And that's part of why we want to get like the little kids into Zoom too, because like they have stuff to say.
Right.
And you know, if we can start training them at an early age to be good advocates for themselves, I think that's great. I'm not sure how to strike that balance, but obviously other districts do it, and they're sending their kids to business conferences and to like Model UN conferences and stuff like that, and still meeting the state requirements. So I don't know if it's like piggybacking off of their ideas and seeing how they do it, but obviously it happens, and it can be done. But I'm not an educator.
Maybe it's for you guys to think about. Okay,
Let's feedback.
safety committee.
Let's see. So we met on January 20th at 6:30 in the Freelow Center, and I am proud to announce that we are moving forward with 2 potential quick wins for the school year. That would be hosting an internet safety event for families and administering a national safety survey for students in grades 5 through 12 in the spring. These should all be at no cost to the district. We continue to talk about our long-term goals, which include and are not limited to a district-wide safety awareness day, student IDs, the potential rollout of an SRO program, and increased security staffing. Next meeting, if you'd like to attend, trustee, over to my left, is tomorrow.
I can't
at
participate because there's too many.
I might need
You
you
said
then.
6:30?
6:30 tomorrow in the Innovation Lab, continuing our discussion on the implementation of our short-term and long-term goals. The reason I would want you to come is that Internet Safety Day might tie in well with what your students were mentioning in wellness. It'll be a good opportunity for 2 committees to come together and do something, so you should.
How does that work?
It doesn't.
No, it won't.
All right.
If you have, no, hold on. Oh, if you come and hang out. But
No, so if you push 2 committee meetings together because of the overlap, is that, it doesn't matter if there's still 4 of us there, correct?
Yes.
well, hold
Can
on.
I comment? I
Yes.
mean, because it's happened in the past. We're gonna have a combined committee, for example, the key, I believe, and correct me where I'm wrong, Carola.
Where is Carol?
But so we have enough knowledge in this group too. But the key is, if there comes a moment where you're making a recommendation, that the people who are there observing or being participants, they should not be really commenting on, but definitely not voting as part of that recommendation to the full board. Because technically, if you guys are voting on a recommendation to the board, you're now approving it as a board because you'll have quorum. So it's just my take on it, without Carol here commenting on it if you want.
It's my understanding we should not do more business, but is that Carol walking?
It is Carol.
Carol walking.
Carol?
Where's
I swear I just saw her.
trying to hide?
I mean, I'll be.
There you go.
I have attended other committee
Come
members,
in.
but I'm usually sitting there silent.
Right, that's what I
I'm
thought.
amazed.
Let's see what the lawyer
But I try
says.
not to.
let's see
We
what
need
the
your help,
lawyer
Carol.
says. Hey, Carol, we have a question. We may want to, in the event we ever want to have a joint committee meeting, means one committee attending another committee's meeting or two committees together, and there's more than 3 trustees. Is that an issue?
We had looked at this a while back
Mhm.
for the specific rules, and I'd have to look at it to refresh my
Okay.
recollection. But I believe if you are there attending a meeting as a meeting participant, it's not the same as a board meeting. You
Does
know,
it matter?
If you're attending the meeting.
Okay.
And if you're discussing board business, like events that the district may throw, or that the committee may throw, does that become a meeting we need to notice? Like a board-
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
we have to notice all committee meetings because they are public meetings and subject to
But
open
does
meetings
it
law,
become a
which require
board
notice.
meeting?
But if
There's
it's more a
quorum,
board
yes.
meeting,
Yes.
it's more than
Because the nature of
3.
the quorum.
3.
Well, trustee Sanfilippo will not be there
I will
tomorrow,
not.
so if you wanna hang out, you can come.
Solves that problem, thank you.
Can I just, I'm sorry,
Can you,
I need to let trustee Lance. 4 of us were at the, I don't know if you were at the Woodlands PTA meeting last night?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
For example,
PTA meetings.
Yes, I didn't
No,
say
no,
anything
no,
on purpose.
no.
Because there was too
Talking
many
about
of
the
us there.
internet safety night. The PTA was talking about something on March 16th that they're running. I don't have my notes on this, but it is related to, you might reach out to Kelly Johnson,
Okay,
because it was related to internet, like, smarts.
okay.
So,
Well, that's the thing, we had, a parent come into our meeting, I forget her name, but she has resources, is she working?
she
with-
did. I have to still have the papers in my,
Yeah, someone up there working together.
Just for clarity, as parents, we're allowed, and even as a board member, you're allowed to attend PTA meetings and have more than 3 people present.
Oh.
I just want to say, because we just said that.
Okay.
So I don't want any
Sorry.
confusion. So we can attend, we're not doing board business, we're talking about PTA
we're-
business.
as parents, yes, but I wanted to, because it seems like there's a cross of.
There is a lot of Venn diagramming going on.
I'll go there and see how that goes. They're just starting the planning?
It's March 16th.
it's a go, it's fun, like Discord's involved somehow, students are gonna be talking, it's a,
Okay.
we both left our notes about the PTA meeting.
It's called the Build Up and Belong Grant. And I specifically remember them talking about internet smarts,
Mhm.
Okay.
social media,
Just to make sure you're not
internet, yes.
duplicating the same program.
Well, I will say the parent that came, it was totally different
Yes.
materials.
And it's
Yes.
district-wide, it's not, the Woodlands PTA is
Right,
talking about
that was
Woodlands
different,
age.
just because the internet safety and the
Right.
parent who did come, it's a resource for presentations
Right.
and like, even for the,
What was her name?
for the safety day that we had been talking about.
Yes, exactly. So I mean, there's a couple things to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
do with that.
Well,
But
and
thank you.
it's a broad topic, like,
Yeah.
you could talk
I mean,
for
you could
a
talk
long
for-
time,
it's
and
a-
not
it could be several days.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you. I'm all done.
thank you. Technology
Okay,
Committee.
speaking of which, tech.
Ah.
We met on January 23rd. We discussed department budget needs, which include the recent upgrade to our backup power source, but needing some access points, some climate control needs for tech spaces, general equipment, cameras, innovation spaces, etc. We talked a little bit about the ad hoc committee that has been formed to help update/develop our AI policy and expectations, and if students were included in that. And staff has been receiving additional professional development. Dr. Njoku came and presented what they had learned at a recent conference, which was very interesting. And I think, like, we're doing a good job of not putting our heads in the sand and pretending like AI is not gonna be something that we need to address. And I think we're approaching it in a very realistic way, and gaining the student voices too will be very helpful. Because there's obviously a lot of things that will keep developing. We talked about concerns we're having around the updating of the directory on the website, if there's errors that are coming up or people that aren't on there that should be, and vice versa, and trying to figure out the source material and the best way to handle those kinds of things so everything is updated and ready for our community. And in general, our next meeting is February 26th, between 1 and 3, and we're going to be looking at the technology plan more thoroughly. And then because of the success from the wellness committee, we do have plans to invite students for part of our March 18th meeting. And that we will develop like a very specific ask for them. So when they come, we've got their brains focused on something for a short period of time, and then they go back to class.
Okay, any other comments, questions, concerns? No? All right. Next we have building liaisons. I'm gonna ask us to table that for the essence of time. It's about 8:15.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
Just because it's just happened. Bailey had a Valentine's Day pop-up shop today, and I guess it was so successful, they have extended it to an extra day, that is Friday. So,
What did I say?
tchotchkes.
Oh, that's right.
Valentine's Day tchotchkes.
Okay.
And they're also doing a readathon for the first time in my experience. So they are, yes it is, they need some money to do something,
lot.
so
Yeah.
the readathon is underway.
That's
Okay.
nice.
All right, so, moving forward, we will need to talk hopefully very soon about our committee structure for next year. And if we're gonna keep the 9 committees that we have, 9,
Only 9?
is it?
Oh my God.
Also, so the number of committees, we also should talk about the structure and, you know, board members running committees, although I'd love to hear your reports, versus admin kind of running committees and how that relationship works. And then, also paying money for committees, you know, some committees use staff and we pay overtime or double time, I'm not sure how that works. And how the cost is versus not, and how that works. We should probably talk about that at some point, Dr. Chisholm, in our board discussions. Next on the item is board discussion, and the only thing we have listed is a calendar discussion, but there are a couple more public items that we should talk about. So let's stay on the agenda and do calendar discussion. Trustees, you'll have 2 calendars in front of you, draft 1 and draft 2. Dr. Chisholm?
Yes. So, an ad hoc committee was commenced, comprised of, building administrators, some, teacher leaders, central office administrators, making sure that all of our, 3, union membership representations were there. This is probably not coming out right. But we met and we discussed the calendar. We reviewed the BOCES calendar that at that time was a draft. The BOCES calendar has been finalized and approved. And we also looked at the draft calendars of our neighboring Lower Hudson Council districts. Wanting to be in lockstep because we know that many of our teachers also come from those districts too and have families. We devised 2 draft calendars. The first one, draft 1, would require an MOA with the GTF in order to have teachers start early in August, coming in on the 26th and 27th of the year, with students starting on September 1st. That would allot for the 2-week December break. We still acknowledge the holidays. It still gives us the 4 superintendent conference days for the year. And it still keeps us at 180 days for students attendance, 181 plus 4 superintendent conference days for teachers and staff. Also denoting, sticking with the contract for the last day of school, for students being on the 24th and the last day for staff and teachers being on June 25th. Draft 2 has teachers returning on the 1st and 2nd, with students' first day of school being September 3rd. It moves the December break with a half day, or early dismissal, excuse me, on the 23rd. And then moving into December break, going until January 4th, where everybody returns. And it also, in April, provides the 20, I could say 2 hours,
No, it's not, it doesn't say early dismissal, it just says, sorry, it says project
Project
safe.
safe, I'm sorry,
It's not
no,
early dismissal.
sorry, I saw the other yellow box, I apologize.
Yes.
And then it also for April has, the extra day for the 22nd and 23rd, both days, so it's recognizing Passover for both Thursday and Friday as opposed to just Thursday.
When is Easter? Somebody asked me about Easter. I'll look. March 20th, it's early.
I don't overlap this year.
Wasn't it right? No, it has to be the
Easter,
29th.
March 28th, 2027.
20, Easter,
It's on Sunday.
Is March 28th,
oh, I'm gonna
2027.
years.
Okay.
For next
Oh
year.
my God, okay. March 28th
Yes.
is Easter, okay. Oh, someone asked me about this.
So both calendars, also both end for students the 24th, teachers the 25th. I'm looking at 5 months, 2 staff days in August versus calendar 2, no staff days in August. September has the 20 days for both drafts. October has 21 days for both drafts. November has the 18 days for both drafts. December, draft 1 has 14 days compared to 17 in draft 2, with 2 shortened days for December break. February has 15 days for both drafts. March has 18 days for both drafts. April, draft 1 has 21 days, with draft 2 with the Thursday and Friday for Passover, 20 days. May has 19 days for both drafts, and June has 18 days for both drafts. So still the same amount of student days and teacher days, still observing the holidays. The difference between this year and last year is, I think we're using the second Eid in May for Superintendent Conference Day. That will be moved up to March, the first Eid.
Okay,
Can you,
thank you.
I'm sorry, remind me when the, new teacher academy is?
The new teacher, dates are, I believe they're the 24th and 25th, and she said those, that Monday and Tuesday are the last week of March.
They base it on the calendar.
I'm sorry?
Once the calendar, we'll have it.
And then, no, that's the admin retreat, you said was the 24th, 25th.
No, the new teacher orientation,
Okay,
between 24th and 25th. We'll have to decide the dates for the admin retreat.
okay.
Just for the continuity of having your new teachers and having to roll to superintendent conference day, it's kind of good to keep that momentum going and that energy while they're, and then they get to meet their new staff, they get to be in their buildings at the same time, a little bit more.
Okay. Trustee Warner.
Superintendent,
Trustee Warner.
do you have a preference?
I do have a recommendation or preference. While both drafts are what we've agreed upon as an ad hoc committee, having the staff and the new teachers come back in August, draft 1 would be my preference.
Thank you.
Anyone? Trustee, no? I see you moving.
No,
Okay.
I've said a lot in previous meetings.
We're waiting for
I'll say
Trustee Jacobson.
You guys have children actively in the school.
Personally, I like draft 2 better because I was very concerned last year when we approved the 2 weeks for winter break, that this was going to happen again this year. There was a lot of feedback from parents that those 2 weeks was extraordinarily challenging for them to manage all of the things happening all at the same time and for 2 weeks. And so I think also to avoid an MOA is attractive to me. And draft 2 probably is most similar to the calendars of the past, so I feel like it would feel very expected. I think my only wish about the second draft would be that December 23rd would be a 2-hour early dismissal, because I think that adding that before Thanksgiving seems to have helped a lot, giving people a little bit more flexibility than they had previously. Because I think this past year was the first time we've done that. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Was it the first?
In all time, no.
It's gone back
Maybe
and forth.
recently.
Yeah, it was like, I feel like there's been times where it's been a full day, but I think the early dismissal was helpful. I could see that being helpful in December as well. So just from a childcare perspective, and the starting in September. I like draft two.
As a parent, I'm not gonna say which one, but as a parent, I like one. As an educator, I like another one. But I do agree that early dismissal would be just the day before the 24th of December.
So I like one over the other as well. And I try to think of a more customer service oriented, so I'm not thinking, for the workers. I would wonder if we could get more student days, but I understand this is what the group, how many people did you have with all these stakeholders there?
Honestly, they're like, is it like 15 or 16?
So, you know, but maybe for future calendars, if we could get more student days, you know, these trustees, at least here, I don't want to speak for anyone, but I think most people always wanted more butts and seats as much as possible. We had lots of calendar conversations last year. We're not gonna do that this year.
2 is
But
better than
butts and
14.
seats was, 2 is much better than 14 A, B, D, and F. That was a lot. We don't like calendars.
It's easier to compare.
It is easier to compare. Trustee Along, sorry. Looks like Julie today. Trustee Mans, Trustee Warner, Trustee, Steph Rogers spoke already.
Oh, if we have any comments?
Yeah, I don't wanna move forward and then someone say something later.
No, that's it. Thank you for everyone coming together with their hard work to get this organized, with the amount of people you did. I think that's amazing. Thank you.
Oh, now you're all making us look bad.
No, I know, that's great, you know, you know, it is what it is, it's one or the other.
Thank you.
You can never make everyone 100% happy, so, you know.
Easier.
Do I have a preference? It is what it is, school is school.
And I've heard it both ways
That's it.
too. I mean, I've heard it both ways. You know, we also have families that travel, and for those families, you know, we want to be considerate of those families too, and it's just easier to already do that. Also, some families also felt like they know what the time is, and so it's easier to plan for that time, even if they're not traveling. So I've heard both ways, so.
Well, to that point, I think the earlier we can get it approved and out, the better.
Exactly.
People are asking.
People are asking a lot
Yeah.
already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's the right time, now that BOCES has approved theirs, now the rest of the districts are approving theirs as well, so
Well, that's my
we're
question.
not out of alignment.
So for what you've seen so far, is there a certain way that the districts are leaning, especially in concern to the December break?
Nope, some of them have done it, so we really, I was very transparent, what we have done as a Lower Hudson, we've shared our drafts and what we were thinking about with each other. So I was able to share some of that with the committee, so coming prepared so that they could see what the other districts are doing. We definitely want to look at BOCES, especially because we have students who go to the CTE programming and what that looks like. So we're not out of lockstep with our neighboring districts. Some of them are doing it either way, but a majority of them are doing it, they're following like draft, they're doing the two weeks.
Yeah.
Now I know which one is which.
You know which one is which?
Yeah.
Can you read my mind?
What are you saying now?
I wasn't telling which districts.
Oh, I know.
I was just sharing. Yeah,
No, but I could guess.
yeah.
Oh, as a parent or as an educator?
So next
Exactly.
steps are, this gets, what is, I guess you're pulling the board now for feedback. I guess the next step is an agenda item for us to approve the calendar. Is that the next step?
That would be the next step. I think I've given my opinion, I've heard from other people, but I've also heard from the community too, in terms of, you know, and staff, I'm just gonna be honest as well. So, and not just staff that want 2 weeks at the break, but also, you know.
I mean, are there staff that don't want the 2 weeks?
I didn't hear from any staff that didn't want the 2 weeks. But the ones that I heard from were like, you know, some of them do travel with their families. I did hear from some families that they kind of like the 2-week break because they know it's going to be 2 weeks and they can do what they have to do. It doesn't stop them from traveling during any other parts of the school year, though, let's be honest.
It does concern me about a precedent. I think what Trustee Jacobson said about last year was valid. And now this year, Christmas is not until Friday. Christmas Eve is not until Thursday. So it's becoming something where people are gonna say, but we always have 2 weeks.
Yeah, no,
And-
I'm not looking to set precedent.
But it's going to, I mean, we are. So then what? Then parents are gonna say, but we always get 2 weeks and we travel, but what do you mean? So that is also my concern, and then as we do have parents that travel, we have parents and families and students that have no family, that have no holiday celebration, that may need school, may need to eat. So this is then 2 weeks where they don't have consistency in lunch and socialization. So I'm customer friendly. I'm thinking of the students, I'm thinking of the recipients of the education, and so, you know, I like one over the other. I'm not thinking about the break. My kids are older, so I don't have to worry about childcare as much anymore, but I do worry about those things. Just gotta be honest. I don't know why nobody's saying anything, because I hear
We're all
lots,
saying
I've
things.
heard a lot of things.
I'm telling you that last week in August is a cheap rental week for houses down the shore, so you don't know which calendar I'm leaning towards.
Okay. Okay, so any other questions, comments, concerns? No? We've got 1 or 2 other topic of discussions, the ban versus the bond is the next topic that folks wanted to discuss. It's public, it's 8:30.
Oh my God.
Okay. 2 hours mark.
So I'm gonna open us up and then I'll turn it over to Ms. Merrill to give more background. But I know one of the things we were asked to do was really discuss with the borough, with the projects that we have going on, what would be our next steps in terms of, do we wanna move forward with the ban, which is, I'm gonna say what it is, the bond anticipation notes, or a bond. So we ended up, we did contact Munistat. I think everybody's aware of that. We had Munistat come in and present to us on what those 2 options look like for that debt service, for those pieces. Ms. Merrill and I have been in communication around what our recommendation, what we would recommend, or what we think would be the best course of action. While a bond is fixed and a ban is variable, we want to also think about how do we pay down those debts over time, so it's a least impact to the district fiscally over time. So originally I was thinking like a bond, because it is fixed, we don't have to pay the renewal fee, those type things. But after having further conversation with our insurance folks, Ms. Merrill sitting down and trying to really weigh it out, because our projects are not completed yet. We still have the 2 roofs and we still have the track to go. And so from what I understand, we would do a bond once if the projects were completed. But because they're not, and we're running into delays with these things, we just also want to be safe. So another option that was presented or posed or thought of was doing a ban for the 1 year, closing out those projects that are still part of the project, waiting for those dollars to come back, paying down, and then moving to a bond for the subsequent years moving forward. And I'll have Ms. Merrill describe that a little bit more with the suggestion and the thought process behind that.
Thank you, Dr. Chin. So one of the, we also spoke, just so everybody knows, with our bond counsel, Bill Jackson from Hawkins and Hawkins. So one of the considerations for a bond versus a ban, obviously the interest rate was something we were thinking about initially, but the final decision came down to the fact that with a bond, you cannot prepay up to 8 to 10 years. So I'm just gonna give you a scenario. We're proposing going with an $8 million ban. Let's say a year from now, all of our projects are completed, we find that we have $500,000 left over. If we are in a bond, we have to sit on that money for 8 to 10 years because you can't prepay the debt down on a bond. A bond are investors, through investors, they invest in a bond and they're looking for their investment back. And that's why there is no prepayment for 8 to 10 years. So typically what municipalities do is they stay in a ban situation until they are at the end of their projects and they know what their final fiscal status is at that time.
Okay, so you guys are recommending a ban?
An $8 million ban.
For 1 year.
And if you want, I can explain how I'm coming up with that dollar amount.
Please, hold on, I see you moving. Does anyone else have any questions before Trustee Valen asks a question? No? Okay, Trustee Valen?
I don't know if it's a question, just a clarification, because we are being recorded. So, correct me where I'm wrong. We are talking about a bond that was approved by the voters
Correct.
in October 2023
Yes.
Yes.
for Phase 2 projects, which were building roofs,
4 roofs.
the partial roof in one building, because our view was partially, the track and the tennis courts. That's the projects we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify
And at that time, the
what
vote,
projects and what voter approval we already have.
correct.
Okay, so,
This is not new.
right,
And at that time, I believe the bond vote was for up to $9,625,000.
yes.
Yes. I remember that.
So our recommendation is to renew the ban at $8 million. The breakdown of that, we currently have our bids for our 2 roof projects that will be beginning this spring. They total $2,655,000. We have an alternate of $80,000 included on one of those roof projects.
Included in the 2.655?
No extra
Okay,
in addition. And then we have to take into consideration our soft costs, which are our fees. So that would be the architect fees, the construction manager fees, legal fees. So I estimated, and this is a high estimate, around $531,000. Because they are separate from the construction cost. So that brings me to a total of $3,266,000.
sorry?
You add that to our current borrowing of $3,250,000, bringing us to a total of $6,516,000. The $8 million would be inclusive of anything that is unanticipated. Because again, we do have some projects that are still open that have not been completed.
The projects that we just named.
Yes, correct. We've recently completed the roof project here at Woodlands, but I don't believe that all of the expenditures have been paid out on that project, so there are some unknowns there. I believe there are just a couple things that still need to be done on the tennis courts. A windscreen and some
Signage.
landscaping or something around the sides. And then we have the track. Now we have an idea of what the coating will cover on the track, but again, we have found with our projects that sometimes things come up that we don't expect. Hi.
Hi, so in 2023, we approved $9,625,000. So is this now becoming a $17 million?
No, the total cost of the project at that time was $13,625,000.
Mm-hmm.
Of that, $3,500,000 was used from cash on hand through a reserve. $500,000 was through a DASNY grant, and the $9,625,000 was the actual bond vote.
So now 13 plus 8 now.
No, the 8 is inclusive in the 13. So actually, if we don't end up needing anything further,
Then-
we would be coming in under budget, under the 13,625. You'd actually be under by $1,625,000.
Cross your fingers.
Okay.
So it's not extra, it's part of.
Thank you. That's what I want you to explain.
Okay.
Because people are gonna hear.
Okay.
We approved
They're gonna hear
9
8
million and
Yeah.
now you're, okay,
No.
thank you.
The 8 million is less than the 9,625 that which was the max that we could go up
Authorized,
to.
that the voters authorized for us.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Anyone? Make sense to the average
Makes sense.
Yogi Bear? Okay.
Now, I'm not sure if you're interested or not, but I did print out, some summary pages from Unistat of the bond versus the ban,
Right.
which talks about the different, interest rates and things like that. Would you like me to pass that around?
Yes, please.
Sure. Are there 6 copies?
I think I have 10,
Perfect.
but if we need more, could you take one and pass it?
Anyone have any questions? Because we're gonna move on. It's 8:40.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda are, some agenda questions that we have before we go into executive session on our work session approvals. Oh, thank you. Here you go, trustee. I'm just gonna read them, how's that? These are, I believe, curriculum questions. Item B2, which is non-instructional item. I'm on the wrong page,
Nope,
sorry.
there's no B2.
What?
Me.
Oh, policy review, sorry, forget that. Item G3, which is, instructional item, appointment of co-curricular activities. This is the Student Voice Collective. When will the students present to the town, and has a date been set yet?
A date hasn't been, did you want to see?
Oh, I just met with the students,
Right.
I'm trying to think, was it yesterday or last week?
It was, I think it was last week.
I feel like everything happened today. So I did meet with the students and their advisor. For one, let me just say, the students are not scheduled to present to the town as of yet, because we just met to kind of talk about the purpose of the group, what makes them different. They are open to presenting to the board to also share why they've come into fruition and why they're different from student government. One of their biggest thing was this just advocacy and advocacy outside the four walls of this institution. So we wanted to make sure that they are connecting with the broader community as well, which is a little bit different than what our organizations here are doing. They're really excited about it. Their advisors, like, I want to check everything before it goes out, but I want it to be very clear that, it's probably for information seeking, to share that they want to talk about the good things that are happening, because they feel like Greenberg kind of gets a hit sometimes. So they want to elevate it, our school district and what's happening in here, with the curriculum, with the activities, with the students, what our students are doing that's positive. It's also their civic engagement piece they want to be a part of. We're talking about student voice and elevating that student voice, but also making sure that they understand there's a fine line between speaking on behalf of the district, answering any questions. So we actually are crafting with the students, like, how we make the presentation speech, like before you speak, you get 3 minutes, So kind of like if they're going to the town board saying, remember, we are a student voice advocate, we are not here to answer questions related to this, that, and the third. We are here to, and making sure they give that spiel each time they go up to, if they are presenting or want to share anything at the town board meeting. Otherwise, they're there to listen and observe too, so. I was satisfied with the young folks on that committee. I think one of the students is actually part of our superintendent's student advisory council. So she's a nice young lady. The students were very appreciative to even sit down and advocate for themselves. They did come in with a presentation, and I told them I'd be willing and happy to advocate for them if they wanted to present it to the board and answer the questions for the board too. But I'm okay with moving forward with that.
Okay. Was that question answered for everyone? Yeah? Okay. Let's keep going. I hear it beeping. Okay. Item L1, which is L for the, all right. L1 is, looks like agenda items, for next meeting. L1 and L2 are the questions. With L1, how is this fully and effectively communicated to parents so that their child can attend? That's the AP exams, Regents exams, and IP exams. So that's something maybe for admin to think of when we come out of exec session. You can ask that. And L2 is appointment of extracurricular activities. How often will students practice these games? If there's no practice, what is an alternative to ensure the kids are doing something related to their sport? I think that's a great question. I know as a parent myself, I was always concerned that there was not video watching of previous games and, discussions that happened, which used to happen when I was a student athlete here. So, I think that's a fair question, and I guess we can talk about that when we come back, because we go over agenda items for the next meeting, unless you want to talk about that now. It's up to you.
Regarding the exam prep, what I can say is that the Woodlands Middle High School is speaking with the team. They generate a schedule with all of these teachers to have, to show the times and dates that this exam prep will happen. That is then distributed to parents via school messenger. The teacher themselves use Google Classroom to communicate to the students. And then for those struggling students, there's usually a direct call made to encourage them to come to these after-school programs.
Okay.
Regarding the sports, the athletics, I can speak mainly to the practices. So with JV and varsity, it's typically 5 to 6 days a week. Modified sports, I think that was the question, or was that not the question?
I was wondering about the 6th day, but I guess maybe
Saturday.
football does Saturday?
Sometimes they have Saturdays, so the varsity, you might, track does it,
Okay.
varsity, so they usually, that's my
That's good, yeah.
familiarity
5 to
with
6.
it. With my own young people, like, they go on Saturdays and things like that. And then with modified, it's usually 5 days a week, so that's the difference. In terms of the challenge of cancellations, well, cancellations are communicated to the from the coach to the athletic trainer. The challenge we have is during the winter season with the weather. So we've been trying to be pretty creative around scheduling games and practices, and during that interim, having the students, what I know of for sure is utilizing the fitness center to, do some, I'm not an athlete like that anymore, but, do some
workouts.
do trainings or things like that. So they're trying to, I think the major thing is trying to think out of the box with those during the winter months.
So I've heard from trustees, but also parents, about practice cancellations that go to the kids, but the parents may not necessarily know, maybe they don't have sports maybe they don't see it yet, and the kids remain at school. And the parents think they're in practice, they're just here. So I also heard from a trustee asking about payment, so we're paying these stipends of thousands of dollars. Is there an attendance requirement for a coach if they're canceling practices?
Right now, I don't have, it's not a policy, it's not a reg, but if there is egregious, issues, it would be brought up by the athletic trainer.
How many,
That's why I said I don't have the
oh,
actual.
okay, all right. I don't know if that answers questions for everyone, but I was asked, so I wanna not question. Huh? Oh, two hands, great. Mans and Jacobson.
You go first. You go first.
Well, I said Mans first.
Well, all right, maybe I'll hit where you're gonna go.
Maybe.
I want to go back to school messenger, with notifying parents about, what was it, the after-school exam room? Is there other methods that you guys might want to take on? Only because,
Well, school messenger is the primary notification, mass notification system that the building utilizes, but then they also use Google Classroom for the students, so the students get that information, but for parents,
yeah,
that's where it is.
because I think to get your kids to make sure they're going to the prep, maybe
Right.
sometimes parent support can help. I know there's things that go on, I have no idea what's happening. And I don't know because I get it secondhand from someone else. So it's just maybe another method I would think to let parents know, hey, we've got after school prep, we want to encourage the kids to come because I've heard in the past the attendance to after school prep is not the greatest. So in order to try to get those numbers up, to get parents on board outside of technology all the time, could a simple phone call from a guidance counselor or someone can help too?
So that's the third item that
Yeah.
is stated, definitely for the struggling students, those who need it, a direct call is typically, is what's given. But in terms of getting everything to everyone, we use that communication pathway, that's the we don't wanna put it on social media, right?
No,
Right?
no.
So, but if you can think of,
Probably not.
maybe communicating to the PTA, I can speak to the high school, the Woodlandsville High School about other options, but the main communication pathway is school messenger. And that is tied to emails, phone numbers and emails,
Okay,
right?
okay,
Does
that's
that make
fine.
sense?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
If you can think of anything else, then let us know, we can,
Yeah, I'll try to help you out.
yeah.
You go ahead. 'cause now I
Trustee
lost my
Jacobson and
other
then
question.
Valen.
I'm looking for some clarification around the weight room and utilizing it, because you can modify the sports, use it as well. There seems to be some confusion about who is allowed to use the weight room on those off days.
On those, I can find out, but I don't know what the challenge is, so I would need to understand, maybe we can speak about what the challenge is, but the weight room is open.
That's what I thought, because like, you signed a thing that
It's
says that
signed
you can
in,
use it,
and yes,
but then there,
So-
I think the communication might not be super clear
okay,
to students.
all right, I'll make note and communicate, okay, thank you.
Trustee Valen.
This just feels like an opportune time, since we're discussing school messenger, to remind families that school messenger is based on the information you provided for your emergency contact. So if your email address or phone number for text messages has changed, please contact your building
Thank you.
and get that updated in the system. They will direct you on how to do it, or they will do it for you.
And since we're in budget season,
Or,
one of the things that did come up is looking at auditing or counting how many students actually do stay after school for clubs. Not necessarily sports, but stay after for clubs. And I know we hire a club, what is our manager, what? Coordinator. We didn't do that this year?
No, the APs or assistant principals are monitoring that.
Okay, that's a change.
Mhm.
And a savings, because we paid them. So, could we, at some point, oh, it's mid-year already, could we maybe get a
The mid-year
report
report.
on who's attending clubs and what?
that's why I'm raising my hand.
Oh, what did you want to say, trustee
This
Valen?
feels like an opportune time to have a reminder sent out to our club advisors to ensure people are signing in for attendance, et cetera, because we will, as at least a governance and policy committee, or then as a board, be reviewing that information in the final reports in May-ish.
Right, and I do a check-in in February as well.
It's February.
It is.
Huzzah!
Mid-year
Just got
report?
14 more days.
Trustee Warner? No? Okay. That's it? Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, we're gonna move on, it's 8:53.
Didn't even look around.
You guys are vocal when there's discussion, where's the page?
I move.
Thank you.
That we adjourn to executive session to discuss information relating to proposed pending or current litigation, the employment history of particular persons, personnel matters, and employee records, and matters deemed confidential by state or federal law, including seeking advice from counsel.
Second.
Is there a proper moving forward to discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention, motion carries. It's 8:53, we are now in an executive session.
Where are we going?
Okay, we are back from executive session, and the time is now 10:45 p.m. We're moving to F, our work session approvals. Can I get a motion for personnel instructional items?
I move that we approve the instructional personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Next, we have personnel non-instructional items. Can I get a motion, please?
I move that we approve the non-instructional personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. F3, board action items. Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve the board action items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Item F4, business items.
I move that we approve the business items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. F5, pupil personnel services items.
I move that we approve the pupil personnel services items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Next on our agenda, we have L1, review agenda items for next meeting. L1, appointment of after-school exam prep. We talked a little bit about this in the first part of our meeting. These are all the exam preps, AP, Regents, IB exams. Item L2, appointment of extracurricular activities, spring sports. L3, minutes. L4, treasurer's report for December. L5, warrant reports for December. L6,
Yeah,
what? You have a question?
when you read the name again.
Donation, MTA track program supplies.
Yep. Ms. Pineda, when we get the agenda for next time, I think track, if I read the letter of the donation correctly, track is an acronym, so can that all be in caps? Otherwise, my first instinct is to think that they're providing supplies for our track program as opposed to the track or tracks.
Is it track or
It's-
tracks?
I'd have to open the letter to check, so I'm asking Ms. Pineda to do that ahead of the next meeting so that it matches and is
Will do.
a little more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Number L7, proposal for Reach Educational Solutions. Number L8, health services contracts. Number at Harrison. Number L9, health services contract at Irvington. L10, health services contract at Scarsdale. L11, surplus, Women's Middle High School science books. And that's it. That's small. Okay. No questions? Wonderful. Now we're moving to closing items. Number M1, God bless you. Any new business? Yes, trustee Jacobson.
Two things, I forgot to mention it earlier. PTA Council is raising money for the teacher grants with Spiritware that has all of our school names on it, and there's t-shirts and tote bags. And the sale goes through March 24th, if I remember correctly. Yes. And so those, I'm not sure exactly, I've seen it on social media, I'm not sure where they're advertising.
Okay.
So I don't know more information.
They did send
about
an
that.
email.
But I don't know who the email went to. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't get one. You didn't get it?
I didn't either.
So that's why I'm not sure what their distribution is, but, probably sending it to principals for the like
Can I just tell
weekly
you,
ones might be good.
I really like this shirt.
Yeah, it's got all the
The
schools.
superintendent should get one. Maybe we should buy it for her.
me?
Because you're the one reporting, I know we're all three ski liaisons, but I didn't get the email. If I did, I probably missed it. Can we suggest?
We can suggest.
I do wonder if we could ever get those bumper stickers back.
I would be great with
Yeah.
a car magnet.
The car magnets, that's
That
what
would be
they're
cool.
called.
That
They're
would
not
be
called
really
bumper
nice.
stickers anymore, they're called
No.
car
No,
magnets.
no, some of the stickers then.
No.
I don't know. But you remember bumper stickers, oh, car magnets. I don't know, she's
Yes,
telling my
it-
age.
It was GC7 PTA council, and then
It was.
we got rid of the 7,
Right,
right? And changed to central, but then they have to change the sticker.
no, it just said vote yes, didn't it?
Support Greenberg Schools.
No, there
Yes,
was
Something
yeah,
Greenberg.
but that was a very
GC7
specific
PTA
thing.
council.
But I think that's a
was
nice,
distributed.
in general.
Yes, I love a good car magnet.
1050.
And then
Are you rushing her? Okay,
and
sorry.
then the other thing is on March 21st, so I'll bring it up at a future meeting too, is the 2026 Career Expo for Gopher Girls, which is for girls from 9 to 18. Dr. Njoku was at a table, I was at a table last year, and it's just people in all different professions, and young girls can go learn all about these professions. There's usually a lot of swag. It's $25. They also offer scholarships, lunch, breakfast are included. It's a really great experience for girls just to learn what options there are out there. 'Cause some of the
The
things
superintendent should get an invitation.
Hmm?
The superintendent should get an invitation.
I don't know if Dr. Njoku plans to be there again. I've got to ask her. But it's a thing and it's very cool. It's at SUNY.
Right, it was WCC, right? Was it last
Well,
year?
if we are interested, who do we reach out to if we want to be one of those people talking to the ladies
I can send you information.
on the table?
Okay, is there any other new business? No? Is there a motion to, yeah,
You looked at
trustee,
me.
sorry, trustee Valen?
And not,
No? There's not. Okay, so 10:50 you said.
well, I didn't know Dr. Chisholm had.
Dr. Chisholm, I'm sorry, do you have any new
I have
business?
no new business.
Okay, all right. Is there a motion?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Good night. 10.